All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, May 22nd. We got a full MLB slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, we're going to go through each and every one of these games. I'm going to give you my lean on the side. I'll give you my lean on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, all of my final plays, if you do want to do the opposite and fade me, all of those plays are going to be in the pinned comment. In terms of yesterday, we keep having these nights where one game kind of decides it, and they blow the lead, right? So we do go 2-2, cashing our plus money play of Clark Schmidt, so nothing to cry about, but the Giants leading pretty substantially, and then they go and blow it. So unfortunate 2-2 night there. That happened to us 2 days ago too with the Brewers. So we're right there. Like, I can't get discouraged about the plays we're rolling with because it's like we're 1 inning away from a nice night 2 nights in a row. So nonetheless, 2-2 night. Can't brag about it, but I'm also not going to shed a tear over it there. I'm sure there's going to be people being like, "Oh, the Giants killed my 10-leg parlay. Screw you, Ev." Well, screw me then, I guess. But nonetheless, 2-2. We do have a celebration in order, though. Let's pump in some damn crowd noise for Sherm. We had the ride of the day, Cubs, Braves, Nerfy, plus 115 over on DK. That cashes there, so shout out to Sherm. That final score ended up being, I think it was like 4-3 or whatnot, but no runs in the first inning there. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, all you have to do is use that hashtag, ride of the day, in the comments. Then I jump on board with one person's pick, and I give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you win, we continue to ride with your plays. So looking forward to seeing what Sherm throws out today. Sherm, are you some sort of Nerfy specialist? Maybe we should get some more Nerfies in there. So looking forward to what you throw out today, guys. But yeah, go ahead and use those hashtag ride of the days in the comments because you never know when you're going to get called on there. I also shout you out over on my Twitter at FGuyBoston. That'll be rotating through here throughout the show if you guys do want to follow me there. But yeah, what do you say we jump into today's slate? I have a feeling there's a slight chance we might hit 75,000 subscribers today. So hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Appreciate the hell out of you guys. We got Washington taking on Minnesota. I guess you could say it's a pretty weird series so far, right? Washington wins game number 1 back on, what was that, Monday? Yeah, Monday. They win 12-3. Then yesterday, Minnesota bounces back, winning 10-0. Right now on the mound, we have Simeon Woods Richardson listed for Minnesota going up against Jake Irvin. I think that both these pitchers have, some good starts on their resume here, some iffy spots like Woods Richardson, for example. That game against Toronto didn't look all that great. And Jake Irvin's last start, I believe, I forget who it was against, didn't look all that great either. So neither one of them I'm going to call a stud on the mound today, but I do think that there's a fairly big offensive gap here for Minnesota versus Washington in Minnesota's favor. So I'm going to lean towards Minnesota on the money line in this spot. When it comes to bullpen, I don't trust either one of these bullpens, so I guess it's kind of like picking and choosing which one you prefer. Minnesota's bullpen should have everyone good to go. I don't think that Washington has anyone that's either taxed all that much either. So this could be a first 5 play or a full game play, especially for me. So keep an eye on the pinned comment, but this is going to be a Minnesota money line play, whether it's first 5 or full game. In terms of the total, I think we have really good weather, like 90-degree weather in Washington, wind blowing out slightly to center field. And like I said, both these pitchers, though they do have some good starts on their resume, obviously the ability to have some, 5 innings, 6 earned run type ball game. So I'm going to lean towards the over 8.5 in this spot as well. Now, from a player prop perspective, it kind of counters both of these player props counters the argument I'm making about or I guess one of them counters the total. Simeon Woods Richardson under 2.5 earned runs. I do think that he has a good spot here against Washington, where he throws a lot of fastballs. They're 25th in terms of runs above average per 100 fastballs seen. Throws a lot of changeups. 25% of his pitches are changeups. 26th in runs above average. He throws a lot of sliders. That is what Washington hits well. But overall, I don't think Washington puts up a bunch of runs here. But like I said, these bullpens are a little iffy, so we could still hit the over and hit his under 2.5 earned runs, right? And you're looking at near even odds over on Caesars right now. that could be something we consider. And the other player, probably Jake Irvin, under 4.5 strikeouts. This is a Minnesota team that's kind of middle of the road when it comes to strikeout rate versus right-handed pitcher, a 21.6 strikeout rate, which is good enough for the 14th in the league. Against righties on the road, they do jump to 10th ranked in the league, and he's going to throw a lot of fastballs, Jake Irvin, right? Minnesota, the best team in the league in terms of runs above average against fastballs, and at home this year, he only has a 16.7 strikeout rate. So this could be a spot in which we consider that. The thing that makes me sort of question it is, you'll see, we can jump into outlier right here. He's been kind of hit or miss to this line. I do like his last 5 starts. He stayed under this, but, at any given moment, he could easily go for 6 strikeouts or 5 strikeouts like you could see. But, again, the numbers are slightly on our side here. You could see 56%. Actually, you can get it for plus 110, it looks like, so even better odds now. But 5 of his 9 starts this year, he's stayed under the mark. And even looking at this against right-handed pitchers, right? Look at this column. It's white right now. Against right-handed pitchers, few of those numbers turn to green. So I don't mind his under in strikeouts. I feel like we just spent a million years on that game, but yeah, game number 1, I do like a few plays in there. So there we go. Let's move on. All right, a game that I don't like as much as that first one, so we don't have a million plays on it. But Cleveland taking on the Mets here. On the mound for Cleveland's going to be Tristan McKenzie going up against Jose Quintana. I like Cleveland in this spot. It worries me that this is going to be a sweep, but hell, they just swept Minnesota. They've won 8 of their last 10 games, so I'm just trusting the home team in a spot to kind of get the job done. This game is at 1:10 today. Cleveland then goes to play. They have a day off, I believe. They go cross country to, or at least to the West Coast. New York heads to, actually, I think that they head home, and they have a day off as well. So this is kind of a getaway game, but no quick turnaround for either team to play tomorrow. But either way, I do think, afternoon game, Cleveland at home, they're on absolute fire, whereas the Mets have lost 7 of their last 10. I like Cleveland, the home team, with what I would say has a slight pitching edge, a clear bullpen edge. The offensive edge, I feel like this is kind of 50-50, especially if we look at it from the dashboard perspective. Like you'll see both teams kind of middle of the pack when it comes to offensively overall and versus starting hand. If you like the Mets today, here's your argument. They've been hitting righties on the road really, really well. But, with a few righties in there, with few righty batters in their lineup, it's actually where Tristan McKenzie has been pretty good this year. So, yeah, give me Cleveland. Don't love it, but I do like it. In terms of a total here, we're looking at 9. Overall, this is a spot in which I wouldn't expect many runs to be scored just due to the offense. But look at yesterday's game, 7-6. I would have said the exact same thing. And today we have wind blowing out to, right center, strong wind. So I guess I'm going to lean slightly towards the over. It's not like we have 2 pitchers that are going to absolutely shut these offenses down. So that kind of counteracts the lack thereof of some, runs being scored from the offensive side, the lack of pitching. So slightly lean towards the over. And by the way, guys, if you do want access to this dashboard every day, it's simple. $2.99 to become a channel member. We call you guys the ballers. Shout out to all of you guys. But yeah, shout out to you for supporting. You know what you get for that? $2.99. You get a full game breakdown with pitching, bullpen, pitch mix, batting, all that good stuff, delivered to you every single day. Or not delivered. You have to find it on the community tab, but we provide a link every single day. So yeah, if you want to support us, $2.99 a month. I don't know what that comes out to per day, but pretty damn good, right? What? 10 cents, something like that. So appreciate you guys, everyone that has supported so far. This model takes so much work to upkeep and to bring to life every single day. So appreciate everyone that has supported. Consider becoming a channel member today. I'll put a link in the pinned comment to make it easy as well. All right, next up, we got Kansas City taking on Detroit. So far, Kansas City has had this series in the bag, 8-3 win. We were on the right side of that one a couple days ago, and then a 10-3 win yesterday. But today's a little bit different. We got Tariq Screwball on the mound for Detroit. He's got a 1.8 ERA on the road this season, a 0.54 WHIP, a 0.93 FIP, an expected FIP of 1.45. Average against of 155. So the dude has been dealing, I say all of those away numbers, right? it's not like they're much worse just overall in the season either. So this dude is definitely an amazing pitcher. And he throws a lot of different pitches, which is great because Kansas City hits some pitches really well, like slider and curve, which he throws both of those. But they don't hit other pitches well, like changeup or sinker and fastball. So it's a good thing that he has a lot of pitch mix in his repertoire. The problem is I do think Cole Ragans is kind of in a similar boat. The dude pitches well at home. He's been pitching well this season, I guess, overall, right? 1.2 whip, 2.57 FIP. On the season, a 3.7 ERA. A lot of righties in this Detroit lineup. Cole Ragans specializes against righties. So I do think that there is a little bit of a, an advantage to Detroit, but not that much, or as much as you'd think from a starting pitcher perspective. Kansas City may slightly have the better offense, at least, the hotter offense. But, look at the total. 7 runs. Like, the books are coming in saying, we're trusting, we're believing this is going to be a pitching duel, and I can see that. So I think my immediate lean is going to go towards the under. This opened up at 7.5 and moved to 7. So the books are literally showing their cards like, no, we don't even want to give 7.5 numbers out. We'll take 7, right? So I'll trust the pitching duel. But I think the Tigers pull one out here. If it's going to be a low-scoring game and a pitcher's duel, then I'm going to pick the pitcher I think that will win the duel. That makes sense, right? And that's going to be Screwball. So give me them and him in a sense here. In terms of like a final score, I could see this being like a 4-2 or a 3-2 type of a game, which obviously is well under that number. But yeah, Tigers here. I think the best odds right now to get them, let's see if I have that somewhere, minus 115 over on Caesar. It's like minus 116 across most books. But like I said, if you do like the Royals, because again, they have maybe the slight batting edge, they're plus money right now. So yeah, I doubt that this will probably be more of a pick 'em by first pitch, which is obviously a few hours from now. So, yeah, give me Detroit the money line as well as a slight lean towards the under. I'm trusting the pitchers here. Trusting the pitchers. All right, real quick, before we do get to the rest of the games here, I want to talk to you guys about Outlier. I already flashed it up on the screen when we talked about, the player prop in game number 1. But what this tool does is what doesn't do is a better way of putting it. I'm on the game screen right now. You can literally see where the money is and the percent of bets. You can dive in and dig into, trends on these teams and even get all of the lines that are out right now. For example, I could say Baltimore money line, right? This is over here. I could see what all books are offering at, which is really, really cool. But my favorite part here is going to be the player prop screen. Say we want to say, all right, let's find players that are going to get a hit today. You could say over hits, odds. What do we say? Minus 1,000, because if we want to do a hit parlay or something, really, really cool. You can see trends of last 10, last 20, head to head. If you want to dig in and say, okay, you know what? Kevin Pillar here, over 0.5 hits. He's done it in 9 of his last 10 games, in 8 games straight, averaging 1.6 hits per game. You can even see verse pitcher matchups here. So this is a spot in which Pillar's averaging 338 on the season. Maybe this isn't a guy we want to throw into a hit parlay today, because against righties, he's only batting 297. But Hunter Brown, on the other hand, his batting average against jumps against right-handed batters, right? So I do think that this is a really, really cool tool. You can even see lineup breakdowns versus the pitcher as well as the hand. Tons of cool stuff here over on Outlier, guys. I'll have a link in the pinned comment. I know a ton of you guys are already signed up for it because this has been one of the longest standing channel partners we have, because I love the tool so damn much. Like, this is such a great tool for all sports. So go check it out, guys. You get 7 days free. Free. I could spell that one, right? Free if you use the link in the pinned comment. See if you like it. What's there to lose, right? It's super, super simple and intuitive too. Go check it out, guys. Outlier, that link is in the pinned comment. Now let's get to the rest of these games. All right, Houston taking on the Angels. This has been kind of a I don't know, I guess weird series so far, right? It was a 9-7 win game number 1 for the Angels. Then yesterday, 6-5. On the mound today is going to be Hunter Brown going up against Tyler Anderson. Tyler Anderson, I just don't know if I fully have, trust in him overall, to be completely honest. So I don't necessarily want to, I don't really want to back him. Hunter Brown isn't really backable in my opinion either. So I think I'm just going to lean towards the over in this spot, and then maybe honestly just take like a flyer lean. So probably not going to make it a final play, FYI, but sort of like in terms of, if I had a gun in my head and had to make a play, plus 170 for the Angels, like that might be the move. They've already shown they can beat Houston in this series against a better pitcher. I think that was Valdez, right? Then Hunter Brown. So yeah, I think this could be a decent spot for them. But I like the over more than anything. We've seen in this series so far a lot of runs being scored. And overall, like this is a spot in which I just think Houston's offense could look pretty good. But even on the dashboard, like a lot of red when it comes to pitching. And like, let's not sleep on this Angels offense last 30 days batting. Like, they're actually pretty green around here too. So yeah, let's roll with an over in this spot. I wish it was at 8.5. In fact, we might be able to find an 8.5 out there because I think the over 9 is right near even odds on FanDuel. So I'm assuming the 8.5 is a little bit better, but 2 straight games for both teams that they've hit the over on this line. In terms of a player prop, let's jump back into Outlier and take a peek at this because I do like Hunter Brown's under 5.5 strikeouts. He's only done that 2 times this season, Washington and Cleveland being the 2 times. But realistically, he's not pitching deep into games. He's averaging. Now, this is obviously an outlier, so we should throw that out. But on the season, averaging 4 innings pitched here. The one concern, and I like to give you guys both sides of it, right? These last 4 games, his CSW, which is like called strikes as well as swinging strikes, right? 35%, 30%, and 31%. 30% is pretty decent, and he's done that in 3 of his last 4. 2 of those games he went over, so there is a little bit of hesitancy when I go to look at that, but and as well as, you know, the strikeout rates going red when we filtered right into pitchers. This is more of a Hunter Brown fade than it is backing the Angels, if that makes any sense at all. So I lean under 5.5 strikeouts for him, but there's almost enough there, and that's just me being transparent with you guys, right? There's almost enough there for me to say it could be a little bit risky, but I like the odds here. -126 on FanDuel, -129 on Caesars. Only 2 places I'd play that. MGM -150. ESPN bet -145, DraftKings -145. So there's some value even just pulling the trigger from an expected value perspective on those 2 other books. Next game up, we got St. Louis taking on Baltimore. Kyle Gibson on the mound for St. Louis, got a 4.09 ERA on the season. He struggled at home. Going up against John Means, 3.06 ERA, and the dude's been pretty good on the road this season. 0.43 whip, 0.86 FIP, expected FIP of 2.67. I'm not sure now that I say that out loud how many road starts he has, but I know overall, I guess, clearly he's been decent so far. I think he only has, I want to say, 1 or 2. He's only had like, 3 or 4 starts in the season, right? So take it for what it's worth here. Small sample size. Overall, though, I will trust him over Gibson. And these bats of Baltimore, I said it yesterday, too. That game ends up not being played. But this Baltimore team obviously is more talented than their numbers indicate. They've struggled against righty pitchers. Gibson is a righty. But nonetheless, it's not enough for me to look at it and say, all right, like this is Cardinals all the way. You know what I mean? 54 plate appearances against for Kyle Gibson against these current Orioles. 283 average, expected slugging at 341. WOBA, though, is good at 275, but only a 16% K rate. Like, there's just nothing there for me to get excited about over the Cards. So I lean towards Baltimore, a team that I think is a little bit better put together. I think they have a better starting pitcher today, even though it's a small sample size, better bullpen. So for what it's worth, I'm going to lean Baltimore, but I don't think that makes its way into being a final play. And I know a lot of people hate when I say that. Well, I give a pick because I like talking about sports. Sue me. You know what I mean? Like, I go through each game and we stick to that. So I don't have a strong opinion on this, but I still have an opinion on it, right? Choose to ignore it. Fade me if you want, you know? So give me Baltimore. In terms of the total here, I kind of like the under, kind of back to the point of Means being looking like a decent pitcher, right? And then even just given the fact that, you know, we see both of these offenses not exactly like crazy good. St. Louis against left-handed pitchers, batting just .214 in the last 30 days. WRC plus 27th in the big leagues, as opposed to the minors. On base percentage and OPS, both bottom 4. So I don't think either one of these offenses is going to explode today. And we're sitting at 8.5, so I'm going to lean slightly towards the under here. All right, we got Cincinnati taking on San Diego, and guys, there's a new DNB, the do not bet list. We've added the San Diego Padres to the do not bet list. If we recall to last night, they lose to Cincinnati. We had them just on the money line. They lose, I think it was like, 2-0 or something. So we've added them to the 5-day DNB. If you guys are riding with me, I encourage you guys to do the same because they have burned us now a few times in a row. Let's not forget that we took them 2 or 3 times against Colorado. They got swept. Then, yes, they pulled one out for us against Atlanta. I get that. But yesterday just seemed like it should have been such a good spot for them offensively against Andrew Abbott, and he pitched really good. Musgrove got shelled. So you know what? I said, screw it. Let's switch up the vibe, put him on the DNB. So if you guys don't know what the DNB is, it's our do not bet list. Essentially like an IL or DL for the bigs. So I can't bet them again until May 26th is when they're eligible to return. It's a 5-day, slight little ban list there, the do not bet list. But nonetheless, in terms of this game, we do have a total at 9.5, which immediately was like, whoa, that is fairly high. Michael King on the mound for San Diego. He's nothing special. Going up against Nick Martinez, who has had some good spots this season, but I'd also argue has been terrible in his last 4 starts. Relatively speaking, and I do think that that's a fair sort of assumption there. But overall, I guess I'm going to lean towards the over. Let's fade these pitchers. That's going to be my play here. I don't think there's enough for me to get to Cincinnati, quite honestly, so I don't necessarily feel comfortable rolling with them, but I can't lean or bet the Padres, right? So I'm going to lean towards the over in this spot as my main lean. And I know a lot of people will be like, the DNB is stupid. Like, what if San Diego has a great spot, or you see in the numbers there's a big edge? Like, as a sports bettor, aren't you, missing out on an opportunity? Yeah, but I also think banning a team and not betting them for 5 days is fun. So I know I've said it before, but sue me. We're having fun out here, and it's something that I think is just kind of entertaining, all right? Comment D and B if you like the idea. Every sports bettor knows what I'm talking about, where no matter if it's a good spot or not, there's a team that's burned you that you're like, they're on the do not bet list. Comment D and B if you agree and if you think it's a good idea. I have Philadelphia taking on Texas. Usually, like I normally do, I am looking at Philadelphia, a way to play them because I love them in the first 5. I don't know how much I love them today with Taijuan Walker on the mound. He has 4 starts on the season maybe, and it hasn't actually, what is it, 4 or 5? I feel like I like, just like means I forget with these guys that haven't pitched all year long. But anyways, I do think that I look at this and it's kind of like a spot in which I say, yes, I trust the Phillies bats, but I don't think that there's a pitching advantage for Philly at all. Maybe the bullpen, which kind of counters that first 5 play. So I do still lean Philadelphia here because I just trust their bats so much, but it's not as strong lean as it normally is. I know you guys are saying that I take Phillies a lot, and they've cashed for us in the first 5 more than any other bet this season. But I'm just not as confident today. So I still like it, but it's more of a like versus a love. One thing that I could totally get behind here is going to be, and actually we can jump into Outlier. They also have a really good Nerfy breakdown, right? The under 0.5 first inning run. So essentially the no runs in the first inning. That's plus money over on DraftKings and on most books, but plus 115 on DraftKings. What I like here is that Texas, 9 of their last 10 games, have gone under in the first inning, and they've done it in literally 7 straight, right? Philadelphia on the other side, they've done it in 2 straight. I like that. Walker has struggled a little bit on the season here. He's gone 50-50, but even with Dane Dunning on the mound here, it's been kind of a hit or miss for them. But I'm just trusting the fact that these 2 teams, forget the pitchers for a second, because I like to give you both sides. This looks terrible for Dunning, right? But these 2 teams as a whole, even on the season, more often than not, are not getting out to a good start, and both are kind of trending in that direction. All of that for, the Texas Rangers. Literally, like, this is, I don't even know how many games this is, right? But then Philadelphia, 2 straight here, like, maybe something's cooling down from the first inning perspective. So I like the look of that. I see enough green to potential pull the trigger on that because, again, you're kind of with Nerfies and Yerfies, which is yes runs in the first inning. It's a coin flip to begin with, right? Like, you're not going to find a minus 160 play here. It's like minus 110, plus 105, that type of thing. But for plus 115 odds, when I can say that I think that these 2 teams trend towards that, it's kind of worth the coin flip because if it's a 50-50 chance, but you're giving me a payout that's more like, 47%, 53%, like, I kind of like that. Hopefully that makes sense. I know that I'm a psycho, but yeah, I'll lean towards the Nerfy. I also don't mind total game over, which counters the Nerfy, but you know what? There's plenty more innings after that first one to score some runs. All right, Pittsburgh taking on San Francisco. Guys, this is a very interesting one because you have Jared Jones on the mound who's looked really, really good. And he's looked really good against righties, who there's a lot of righties in this San Francisco lineup. Going up against Blake Snell, who is making his first start in a while, but even when he did start the season, 3 starts looked absolutely terrible, right? And we know he's a really good pitcher, but nearly a 12 ERA, like, the dude struggled, to say the least, all right? I don't know where to come out on this one because I would have thought just based on the name, it's like the books would have given a little bit of a bump towards San Francisco. But now San Francisco is plus money, so I sit there and I'm like, is that the move? Is it too chalky of a play to say Blake Snell has stunk, Jared Jones has been good? And you guys know that I've liked Jared Jones, like, except for his first start, in which I was like, I'm trying to fade the new kid, and he rocked, right? And I was like, All right, fine. You made a fan out of me. I like him. But I think that everyone and their grandmother is going to be on Pittsburgh today because it's like fade Snell. He stinks. And Jared Jones was pitching so well. I know San Francisco burned us yesterday. But for plus money, I'm going to back Snell here. I want to make sure and look into his pitch limit, if he's going to be limited or anything like that, because that would be a little bit of a sort of, I guess, indicator that we're not really backing him or anything like that. But after he's out for, I forget what he hurt, like his leg or something, right? He comes back. I do think that this could be a spot where he's looking good. I know in his rehab start, or one of his last rehab starts, 10 strikeouts after 5 scoreless innings. I know it's the minors, but that's the Blake Snell Cy Young we know, right? So yeah, I'll sound it again. Give me San Francisco plus money on the money line, as long as I can find nothing that he's going to be on like a super low pitch limit. You know what I mean? In terms of the total, that's where we can involve Jared Jones. I like the under in this spot as well. I think that this game is going to be like a 4-3 game max, hopefully. But yeah, I guess I'm kind of crazy, guys. But I'm leaning Blake Snell in this spot. In fact, real time, let's see what his strikeout line is. Am I just getting am I getting way too into the Blake Snell train? 5.5 strikeouts, that is a decent amount. But it's funny because that like is totally like an easy strikeout line for him a year ago, and now it's like, yikes. But nonetheless, Giants, I sounded the cycle alarm twice. This is what you guys get mad at when I talk too much, right? Guppies. All right, Miami taking on Milwaukee here. I honestly think that this should have been a Milwaukee series all along, right? I've kind of said that multiple times. They get back on the board yesterday, and I think that I ride with them again today. Freddie Peralta on the mound going up against Jesus Luzardo. This is a spot in which I do think Jesus Luzardo's turning it around, and he's actually looking really good at home. But Milwaukee just seems like the better, well-rounded team. If you had like Ross or someone else on the mound for Milwaukee that I just didn't have much trust in, I think it'd be a little bit different, but I think Peralta counters Luzardo fairly well. Milwaukee has the better bullpen, should be the better offense as well, so I'll lean towards Milwaukee on the money line. In terms of what we're looking at from a total perspective, right now it's sitting at 7.5, and that's based on obviously the pitchers, but I kind of like it. I think that this could be a spot in which, you know, a similar 4-3 type of a finish. I don't think Milwaukee blows them out, and I think both pitchers have a decent day today. All right, Tampa Bay hosting Boston. We got Ryan Pepe Le Pew Pepoit on the mound, or Pepoit, Pepe Boy on the mound for Tampa Bay, going up against Brian Bayo for the Red Sox. Red Sox have won both games here in the series, 5-0 and then 5-2. I think that they keep that going. It's just another one of those things, and I believe in it. Like, it's hard to sweep a team, you know what I mean? So if that's sort of a holds weight, then yes, I can get the argument of Tampa Bay. But Brian Bayo has been really good on the road this season, and Pepe Le Pew has been pretty bad at home. So I'll lean towards the Red Sox in this spot, especially for the price you're getting. Like, I know that it'd be kind of like crazy for them to sweep the Rays, because I still don't believe the Red Sox are all that good. Their pitchers are pitching better than expected. Some of their bats are more powerful than expected. So there's that. But for plus money, I think the Red Sox could be the move today. We're looking at a total of 7.5. I like the over because the Red Sox offense is clearly there, right? Like, they're showing up. Tampa Bay's offense, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I expect them to totally show up, but prior to this series, they were actually giving you like 4+ runs, with the exception of one game against Toronto. So their last 3, they've kind of gone into a slumber, but I could see them kind of stepping up and at least giving you maybe 3 or 4 today. And if the Red Sox keep doing what they're doing, then this thing we can wave by as we go over the total. You know what I mean? All right, Yankees taking on Seattle. Yankees as pretty heavy favorites. 2 straight games now have been beat by the Seattle team. And I honestly could see a path to Seattle again today. But this is a Yankees team that is at home that has won 66% of their games so far at home. 65, actually, excuse me. So I kind of look at them and I say, all right, like, this is not a spot where the Yankees get swept, is it? Bryce Miller on the mound for Seattle. He's been pitching well. His last start wasn't his best. 5 1/3, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, a home run against Baltimore. Going up against Nestor Cortez, who his last start actually looked really good against the White Sox, though. 7 innings pitched, 1 run, not even earned, 6 Ks, 1 walk, 13 pitches per inning. So I think that there could be a little edge here for New York. In terms of these bullpens, in fact, I'm looking at it real time, so bear with me for a second. New York's bullpen, some of the 5 guys pitched yesterday, but they shouldn't be in too rough of shape. Seattle's bullpen should be taxed. Thornton went, looks like Spear went, Stanek and Munoz, so I like the Yankees in this spot. I don't think that they get swept here, and they should be able to have the late inning advantage as well. So minus 162, decent amount of price. Is that the most up-to-date line we have? Minus 150 on MGM. I honestly think that that could be a final play. I think the Yankees pull a win out here. Like, I don't think that they get swept by the Seattle team. I think it's already a win in the books for Seattle, too, going 2-1 in this series. So, yeah, give me the Yankees. I can't see them getting swept. And by them not getting swept and me thinking that they show up here, I do think that this could have an over type of a spot just due to the fact that, you know, the Yankees, when they play well, they score a lot of runs. The one negative, and it's not that big of a negative, the wind's blowing right to left, which kind of takes away from that nice little flip short porch home run in right field in that stadium. So for what it's worth, right, I do think that, you know, this kind of hurts it a little bit, but I still like the over 8 here. I'm gonna say that the bats can get to Bryce Miller. All right, Toronto taking on Chicago. Not much interest in this one, honestly. Nastrini on the mound for the White Sox going up against Chris Bassett. I would slightly lean towards the over here, just given the fact that neither one of these pitchers is all that great. So, yeah, that's what the lean will be. I guess Toronto, but I don't even trust Bassett, honestly, in terms of being able to shut down this White Sox lineup. But they're obviously huge favorites. I'm not going to say that it's worth backing the White Sox in this spot, but I'll lean over. I'm thinking there could be some pitching meltdown. Not sure which side, but I do think that could be the case. All right, Cubs taking on Atlanta. Cubs get the win yesterday. Now they have Justin Steele on the mound, who has some decent numbers. I would not sit here and say he's having the best of starts overall, but again, like not the largest of sample size. He's a guy that's only started 4 times, 2 good starts, 2 bad. But overall, this is a lineup of the Braves that has a lot of righties in it, right? I think they only have 2 lefties. And you look at what Justin Steele, in fact, we can show you in the dashboard here. Justin Steele against lefties, really, really good. Against righties, really, really struggles. This is, again, a Braves lineup that has a lot of righties in it. So that's going to be a tough spot for him. And it's the exact opposite on the flip side, right? Cubs, a lot of righties in the lineup. Well, Max Fried, actually pretty damn good against righties. So I think it's going to be a Braves spot for me, a bounce back after yesterday's loss. And you're getting them at minus 135 over on DK. Not all that bad. They have lost 6 of their last 10, which is crazy because, you know, this Braves team's supposed to be good, but clearly not doing all that well. In terms of the total, though, I still think this one sits under. Neither one of these offenses like screaming, you know, we're going to score a bunch of runs, but I'd much rather play Atlanta money line. Like, that actually has a real strong chance of being a final play today instead of taking the total. All right, we got Oakland taking on Colorado. I was very close to pulling the trigger on Colorado money line. Obviously, glad we didn't. But, you know, they make that game fairly close, 5-4. And they had the lead for most of the game, right? It was like 3-2 heading into the 7th, and then 7-8-9 worked out for Oakland. So I'm glad I didn't pull the trigger, but we almost did. You have Austin Gomber on the mound, too. Like, I obviously continue to rag on, and I get it. He's actually been looking pretty good, but he's facing a lot of righties today, a lot of righties in that lineup, and he really struggles against righties. Good pitcher against lefties, struggle against righties. So I think this could be a good spot for the A's. Yesterday, I kind of saw an angle for, obviously, the Rockies. I just don't see that today. So I'm going to lean towards the A's. Matt Spence on the mound for them, 1 start this season. So I don't love that, you know. But overall, I do think that this is a better offensive spot for Oakland. Total-wise, what we're looking at here, sitting at 8, I think that that's low because obviously you have 2 pitchers on the mound that are unproven, but these offenses aren't special. So I'm going to lean under still here in this spot. And last but not least, Dodgers taking on Arizona here. Arizona, polls went out yesterday. I forget what they were. See if I can find that really quickly. They were plus 150 dogs and they win that game. Today, I think that this is a spot where the Dodgers bounce back. That being said, they are 270 in terms of odds right now. It's your best available bet. Probably a little bit too much unless you throw them in some sort of a parlay or something like that. Like, I could see a Yankees-Dodgers parlay. In fact, what would that pay? Because the Yankees aren't guaranteed. They're not like a huge favorite, right? For plus 127 on FanDuel and plus 127 on BetMGM, Dodgers-Yankees parlay. That could be something that I roll with, actually. because I do think the Dodgers bounce back, and I think the Yankees bounce back as well. But overall, in this game, I'm also going to lean towards the over, even though the Dodgers lost last night. Still a 7-3 game, and we know that their offense can kind of take off at any given moment. But guys, that is going to wrap for today's show. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you made it this far into the video, let me know by commenting 34, hitting that like button, and subscribing to the channel. Appreciate the hell out of all the support as of late. Like I said, there's a small chance we hit 75 freaking subscribers today. Cannot thank you guys enough. I'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.